For the additional practice on multiplying and dividing powers with the same base, try to go through it first on your own and see what you can do before just listening to all the answers. There's a couple on here, especially these two right here that look a little bit more intimidating. Actually, this one does too. But really, when you break it down, it really can be quite simple when you're working with this. So again, go through the whole 16 problems and see what you can do on your own, and then come back and listen to the answers. That was a nice sigh by my dog, Piper. Thank you for that. So she's really excited to listen to the answers here. So on the first one, m to the fourth times m to the third is equal to m to the 4 plus 3, which is m to the 7th. On the next one here, we have two variables, but again, we're going to use that commutative property and the associative property to regroup things. So we have a total of q to the 15th, and then we have a total of p to the 8th. Okay, so q to the 15th, p to the 8th would be the final answer there for that one. On the next one, we have some coefficients, so we can combine the 2 and the 5 to get 10. Okay, a common mistake here is that we would get 7y to the 9th or 7, 9 to the 14th. I see all sorts of things, but all this is a giant multiplication problem. Everything's being multiplied, and so if you can picture, we have 7 y's written out, 2 more y's written out, so there is a total of 9 y's. So y to the 9th is correct. But you don't add the coefficients. There's not a plus sign in here, so you're going to multiply the 2 and the 5 to get 10. So the final answer is 10y to the 9th. On the next one, 12 times the coefficient of x there is 1, so 12 times 1 is 12. And then we have 7 x's and 11 more, so that's x to the 18th. On the next problem, again, we have multiple variables. P to the 6th and p squared would be p to the 8th power. We have q to the 4th and just another q over here, so that would be q to the 5th. And then we have r to the 10th and r to the 5th, so we'd write that as r to the 15th. Okay, so that's how that one looks. On the next one, it wants to know what number is missing from this equation, and that would be y to the 6th. Y to the 6th plus y to the 4th would be y to the 10th. Now we're getting into some division, and m to the 4th over m to the 3rd is equal to m to the 4 minus 3, which is equal to m to the 1st, or just m. I'm going to skip over here to this one. When we're dividing, if we have coefficients, we can go ahead and divide those out. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, and m to the 11th divided by m to the 5th would be m to the 11 minus 5, which is m to the 6th. And then popping over here to another multiplication, 3 times 7 is 21, and then y to the 4th times y to the 5th would be y to the 9th. And this one over here, three variables, and then 2 coefficients, so 5 times 6 is 30, and then we have a to the 2nd and a to the 3rd. That's a total of 5a, so we have a to the 5th. B to the 3rd, b to the 4th would be b to the 3 plus 4, which is b to the 7th, and then c to the 4th and c squared would be c to the 6th. And lastly, looking at these were actually taken from the algebra book in lesson, actually topic 7, I believe. So you are going to see these again. It's just this first time you're seeing them, it can get kind of confusing. So I'm just going to deal with the coefficients first, and how I usually do division problems is I write the fraction bar for my answer so I can kind of place things where they need to go. So I have 5 over 25, which reduces to 1 over 5. Oops, I wrote a 2 there. 1 over 5. J to the negative 3, and there's no j's anywhere else to combine them. So I want to make those j's be happy and become positive. So I'm going to put it j to the positive 3 in the denominator here. So j to the positive 3. Sorry about that. This is a little bit crazy there with that tool. The next thing I have is, oops, k to the 2nd and k to the negative 4th. So I have 2 take away a negative 4. So 2 take away a negative 4 would be a positive 6. So k to the 6 will actually be in my numerator. I will rewrite this when I'm done here. And then finally the m's, I have m to the 6th and m to the negative 2. So negative 6 minus a negative 2 is m to the negative 4th. And I don't want to have a negative exponent, so I'm going to put that in the denominator as m to the positive 4 in the denominator. Wow, that is really messy. Let me come up here and rewrite that. 1/5 is for the 5 and the 25. And that can be reduced just like any old fraction. The j to the third is because there's j to the negative 3 in my numerator, and I want that to be a positive exponent, so it's j to the third in the denominator. For the k's, 2 take away a negative 4 is a positive 6, so I will go ahead and write k to the positive 6 power in the numerator. And then finally, negative 6 take away a negative 2 is m to the negative 4th. And we don't want to have negative exponents, so I'll put the m to the positive 4 in the denominator. So the final answer, we don't really need that 1 there, would be k to the 6th over 5j to the 3rd, m to the 4th. Okay, let's take a look at this one too. I'm going to start by writing a fraction bar, and let's look at the 32 and the 4. What's 32 divided by 4? That's 8, so I'm just going to put that right there in my numerator. I have some a's in the numerator and a's in the denominator. And I'm going to take negative 8, take away 3, which is negative 11. And since it's a negative exponent, I want to put those in the denominator by putting a to the positive 11. For the b's, I have b to the 3 and b to the 5th. B to the 3 take away b to the 5th would be 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Again, those are going to end up in my denominator because it's a negative exponent. I want to move that to the denominator. Finally, the c's, negative 4 take away a negative 2. That would be negative 4 plus 2, which is a negative 2. So c to the negative 2 is also going to be in my denominator. So my final answer for this one is, let me come up here, 8 over a to the 11th, b to the 2nd, and c to the 2nd. Okay, we will do a ton more of these practice in class. Go ahead and get these in your note sheets, and we will do more together. Let me know if you have any questions.